ever scroll through the comments on like a post and it's just crickets?
Oh,
More and more lately, it seems like influencers, even like huge celebrities, are just like, nope, comments are closed. Is that like a smart move to, protect themselves? Or is it like career suicide?
Right.
We're diving into some really cool research about this whole trend of influencers, going dark in the comments.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, some of it, I was like, whoa, did not see that coming.
It is a wild new area, this whole influencer marketing thing. I mean, it's huge.
It's huge, right?
And you'd think, right, that these are people who just like live for the constant validation.
Totally.
And this is what's so interesting about the research. It is way more complicated than that.
Yeah, because it really is. It is a multi-billion-dollar industry built on this whole idea of being like real,
Right.
and relatable,
Right.
and like letting people in.
Yeah.
So then where do you draw the line? Like, how do you keep it real but also protect yourself from, let's be honest, some of the awful stuff people say online?
It's such a tough balance, right? Because to be successful as an influencer, you have to build that intimacy. You almost have to be like friends with your followers. But we've seen the dark side of that. I mean, tragically, with some really awful cases.
For sure.
That kind of openness can invite some really intense negativity.
Totally. And the research even talked about a few of those like really tragic cases where cyberbullying was a factor.
Yeah.
So you can see why someone would be like, peace out, I'm shutting this down.
For sure, for sure.
But, and here's where it gets interesting, the research actually found that like disabling comments might be the worst thing you can do.
It's so counterintuitive, right?
Yeah,
You'd think it would be the opposite.
Totally.
But they looked at a bunch of studies, and the data is pretty clear. Influencers who disable comments, people see them as less sincere, less likable, and maybe even more important, if you're in the business of influencing, less persuasive.
So wait, less persuasive?
Yeah.
So like if I'm scrolling and I see like a sponsored post and the comments are locked down,
Yep.
I should be thinking, okay, what are they hiding?
It's like that feeling, have you ever been to a restaurant and they're like, oh, we don't take feedback on the food.
Oh yeah.
Even if the food looks amazing, you're a little suspicious, right?
Totally. You're like, if it's so good, why not let people say how good it is?
Exactly.
Makes you wonder what they're so scared of.
And that's exactly how the research explains this whole influencer comment thing. It all comes down to this idea of consumer voice.
Consumer voice. Okay, break that down for me.
Basically, it means we all have this need to feel heard. Like, even if it's just leaving a comment like, love this.
Sure.
We want to feel like our opinion matters. So when someone shuts down comments completely, it's like they're saying, even if they don't mean to,
Right.
your opinion doesn't matter.
It's like they're putting up a wall, even if it's meant to be like a self-protection kind of wall.
Exactly.
But okay, wouldn't actual negative comments, like really mean ones, be even worse?
You would think, right?
Yeah.
And that's one of the things they looked at in the research. Okay. What they found was, crazy as it sounds, even seeing negative comments visible to everyone is less damaging than just shutting down the comments altogether.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
So you're saying even if someone is getting totally roasted in the comments, it somehow makes them more relatable?
It's wild, right?
Yeah.
I think it shows they're open to feedback, even criticism.
Okay.
It's about being real, flaws and all.
So it's less about like crafting this perfect image and more about
Yeah.
being like, this is me, take it or leave it.
Exactly. Think about it this way. If someone only let you see like super filtered photos on their social media, wouldn't you be a little suspicious?
100%. Yeah. You'd be like, okay, what are you hiding? What's going on here? It makes you question how real the whole thing is.
And that's what happens when influencers shut down all consumer voice, good or bad. It's like, okay, so you're more interested in keeping up this image than you are in like actually connecting with people.
I get that. But what about the influencers who are like really struggling?
Yeah.
It almost feels wrong to ignore that. Like online stuff can take a toll on your mental health. That's real.
You're absolutely right. The mental health part of this is huge. And thankfully, it's something the research dug into.
Okay, good.
And they found that there are some specific situations where turning off comments, it makes sense. People get it.
Okay.
Like if someone is going through a very public loss.
Yeah. Like a death in the family, something like that.
Exactly. Most people are going to be like, okay, they need some space right now.
Right. Totally.
Or if they're upfront about needing to step back for their mental health, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it takes guts to put that out there.
Right.
Especially when, your life is basically on display 24/7.
Totally.
But you're saying being that honest, it doesn't actually hurt you. It can actually help.
That's the thing. This is what's so cool about this research. When influencers talk about the pressure, about needing to take care of themselves, people actually find them more relatable, more human, you know?
So it's kind of the opposite of what you'd expect. Because I feel like we all have those days.
Oh, for sure.
Where it's just like, ugh, the internet. And that's just like normal people.
Yeah.
I can't imagine dealing with that with millions of followers.
Right. And I think that's why this whole authenticity thing is so important, especially now.
Yeah.
I mean, people can spot a fake a mile away.
Totally. Especially younger people, they can smell BS from a mile away.
Exactly. And they want to support people who are the real deal, even with the mess ups, the imperfections, you know, the real you.
Yeah. It's not about being perfect. It's about being, like you said, authentic.
Exactly.
So it's less about, never messing up or never saying the wrong thing. It's more about how you handle it.
100%.
It's about being like, this is me, and yeah, I need a break sometimes.
Yes.
Setting those boundaries.
Yes. And being upfront about it so you don't get to that breaking point.
Yeah, because once that trust is broken, especially in this world, I feel like it's game over.
It's really hard to come back from.
It really makes you think about how important trust is online. I mean, it's why people follow you.
Right.
Why they listen to your recommendations.
Totally.
It's kind of the whole foundation.
Yeah. It's everything. And you can't buy it. You can't trick people into trusting you. You have to earn it. Mm-hmm. And then you got to work to keep it,
It's so true. Okay, so we've talked about why shutting down comments can actually backfire, why this whole consumer voice thing matters so much.
Right.
And how being honest, even about the hard stuff, can actually make you more relatable. But let's bring it back to the beginning. Let's say you're an influencer.
Okay.
Trying to find that balance. How do you do it? How do you stay engaged, keep it real, and also protect yourself?
It's the $1 million question, right? How do you do it all?
Right.
I think it starts with, from day one, being really clear about setting those ground rules, so that you're attracting the right kind of people who get it.
So being really picky about who you work with, what kind of content you put out there.
Totally.
And just being upfront. Hey, I'm human. I need breaks sometimes.
Exactly. It's you're more in control that way.
Right. Instead of just reacting to the drama, you're kind of setting the tone from the get-go.
Exactly. Because once that trust is gone in this world, it's really hard to come back from.
It's almost like you have to protect that more than anything. Because that's why people are there, right?
It's everything, yeah.
That's why they listen to you.
Right. It's the whole foundation.
It's the currency of the whole thing.
You got it. Okay, so we've talked about a lot today.
Oh, yeah.
How turning off comments can actually hurt you more than it helps.
Yeah.
Why it's so important to let people have a voice.
Right, that whole consumer voice idea.
And how honesty about your mental health, about the struggles, can actually make people feel closer to you, not further away.
It's weird, right? You'd think it'd be the opposite.
You'd think so, but the vulnerability, it's powerful.
It's the more real you are, the more people are okay, I see you, I get you.
Exactly.
That's a good place to end it.
I think so.
So, until next time on The Deep Dive.